YouTube, please work today. Instagram, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fine. No complaints there, Instagram. I'm sorry, Twitch and Kick. You guys are MIA. We're going to be MIA on Kick and Twitch because they're just not working with that many streams. You guys. Okay. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. Possum, I really like your picture and your name and possums. I'm guessing you do too. Am I right? Am I right? See, I'm a psychic. I'm kidding. Okay. You guys ready? For a 30-minute gentle flow for everybody in every space. Dog has decided to remain in the background for us. Stuff Tough woke up with a big isolating feeling and felt it strong, got coffee, and now you're about to join us for tiny yoga so you can feel connected to this little ridiculous community. Maybe. Probably. Kind of. Okay, I'm going to get this angled just right, guys. Okay. Again, sorry about the lighting, guys. I wish I could get it a little bit brighter in here, but I'm literally using all the lights that I have. So I think we are at our max. But it looks like we are live on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and we're ready to go. Sir, what did I say about licking balls on camera? It's okay. I understand, but it's not the place or the time for it. You can go out there and do it, or you can lay down right here. Please. Please. Lay down. Okay. You really do need to lay down, though, like back here, and I'll do class. Come here. Come back there. Come back there. You're silly. All right, my friends. For those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Reverend Deborah. I am an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman. And this right here is Ajna. He is a blue healer who usually is not a camera hog, but today apparently needs a lot of attention. Are you okay? Are you all right? What's... Sure. All right. You guys ready for class? Your dog has been extra clingy today, too. I saw somebody's video this morning about them trying to do yoga at home, and their dog was, like, all over it. Yeah. Say it's just probably the moon and the planets. Do you want a knuckle sandwich? Do you need a knuckle sandwich? You do? You want to eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. You can have it. You can have it. You can have it. And then I got to do class. And then I got to do my class. I got to do my class. No, don't you do it. Don't you do it. are ready for class, regardless of what distractions are happening, we're going to move into our tiny yoga session. Tiny yoga is a 30-minute gentle flow for everybody and every space. And if you are ready to join me for class, I invite you to get yourself to the edge of your seat. All you need for class is a place to put your butt. Once you find the edge of your seat, go ahead and bring your knees to shoulder width apart. Stack your heels on top of your knees. And let's take 3 deep breaths to fully arrive here for our practice, shenanigans included. Go ahead and close your eyes, rest your palms face down on your thighs, and take 3 deep breaths. Let's begin by inhaling through the nose and pulling the breath all the way into the belly. And sigh it out. Inhale again, expanding the rib cage in all directions. Big, deep breath. And let that shit go. Inhale again, lifting the heart and elongating the spine by lifting through the top of the head. And exhale. Take a moment to ground. With your eyes closed or open is fine. Just bring your attention down to the bottom of your feet. Press intentionally with the right big toe. Press intentionally in the ground with the left big toe. Release both toes. Press in the ground intentionally with all the toes on the right foot. Release. Press intentionally with all the toes on the left foot and release. Press intentionally with the right heel and release. Press intentionally with the left heel and release. Press with the entire right foot into the ground. Press with the entire left foot into the ground. Both feet intentionally putting pressure into the ground and release that intentional pressure. Hello, body. Hello, earth. Hello, spirit. Hello, ninja. Sorry. And we're just going to move directly into our neck roll. So we're going to begin by lifting the chin up towards the ceiling. Now remember, we are just warming into the muscles, meeting the muscles where they're at. Go ahead and tip the chin down, tipping the head up with an inhale and down with an exhale. A couple times. Not really seeking to pop the neck or overextend the muscles, just meeting your neck where it's at. I know that pops, snap, crackles, and pops tend to happen, but we're not trying to make them happen. There's a subtle difference there. Go ahead and come back to neutral. Go ahead and turn the head towards the right shoulder, keeping the chin parallel to the ground. Come back to center and turn to the left shoulder. Again, just finding the edge. Seeing where the edge of that rotation is for you. Inhaling as you come back to center. Exhaling as you gaze over the shoulder. There is no rush here, no hurry, no need for tension or frustration, no need for creating a battle within ourselves. We don't battle in this space. Come back to neutral and then tip your right ear to your right shoulder, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Inhale back up. Exhale, tipping the left ear to the left shoulder. Again, not intentionally creating popping in the neck, just finding the edge, warming up the muscles, lubing them up. Alternating back and forth. Inhale back up to neutral. Go ahead and give the head a nice roll all the way around in one direction. Dropping the chin and go all the way around in one direction. 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. And then change direction. 1 time. 2. And 3. Return to center. We're moving to the shoulders, lifting the shoulders up towards the ears. Keep your neck nice and long. Lift through the top of the head, pull the shoulders up towards the ears, and drop them with intention. Drop them with a good ha. Inhale up, exhale down with a ha. One more time. Inhale up, exhale down with a ha. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple of times. Roll the shoulders back, up and forward a couple of times. Come back to neutral. Shake out your shoulders. Extend the hands in front of you, or you can also do this one with them resting in your lap. Robert Lee, have a great day. If you're having, whether they're extended or resting, go ahead and extend, open the hands nice and wide, expanding all the fingers, really stretching with the hands, and then clenching them all together. Open, big stretches, clench them into tight fists. Open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. Now, open the palms, press them forward, bending at the wrist, expanding all the fingers, and then press them, keeping them open, press them down, so the palms inward. Inhale up, palms forward, exhale down, palms in. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Go ahead and release the hands. Pause here for a second. Now extend the right leg, and again, you can do this with just the leg, using the muscles in the torso and the thigh to hold it up, or you can interlace your fingers underneath that right leg. Flex, point. Sorry, TikTok. Flex, point. Flex, point. Flex, point. Flex, point. Flex. Slowly release. Don't drop it. Slowly release it to the ground, keeping your foot flexed in a half split. We're going to inhale the body up nice and long. Exhale to slowly bend your way down as far as is available to you today. We're not trying to push past our boundaries. We're just trying to notice where they are. Favorite church drummer, we're going to do dog breath today. We're not doing dragon breath. We're doing dog breath, panting breath. So stick around. It's at the end of class. And we're not even 10 minutes into class. So 30-minute flow, but we'll do that at the end. Into your forward fold. Take a couple of breaths here. Sinking a little bit deeper with each exhale. Go ahead and slowly roll back up. And bend your right leg to come to meet your left. Again, inhale. Extend the spine. Exhale. Reset the body. Go ahead and extend that left leg out, either by the muscles of your leg holding it up, or interlace your fingers underneath to hold the thigh. Flex, point, flex, point, flex, point, flex, point. Flex one more time, and gently release the leg down into the half Hanumanasana, half splits. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lifting through the top of the head, and exhale into your forward fold. Take your time. Inhaling to create some space. Exhaling a little deeper into the fold, not by force, simply by using the breath. Inhale. Exhale a little deeper. Go ahead and slowly roll back up. Bring the knees back to meet each other. Again, shoulder width apart, knees stacked over the ankles. From here, we're going to move into a side stretch. You have two choices in this side stretch. You can use your left hand on your right knee to support, or you can place that left arm down on the bed or the seat beside you to get deeper into the stretch. I'm going to go ahead and use the support, so placing your right hand on the outside, or left hand on the outside of your right knee. Inhale that right arm up, sweeping it overhead, and exhaling into a side stretch. That's right side body nice and open. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, gazing up past the armpit. And exhale to come back upright. Release the right arm. And we're going to go for the opposite side. So again, this time you can Bring your right arm down to the bed or the seat, or you can use it to brace by placing the right arm on the outside of the left knee. Left arm, inhale, sweep it up and around, up and overhead, and exhale into the left side stretch, opening in the left body. Inhale, exhale here. Inhale, gaze up past your armpit, and exhale to slowly come back all the way up to neutral. Bring your hands together at your heart. Send your hands, palms together, way up overhead for a little back bend. And exhale as you turn your torso to the right, only moving the torso itself. Don't move the hips. Keep your knees at an even length here. Twisting your torso to the right. Go ahead and open your arms, placing your right arm behind you, left arm on the outside of the right knee. Take a deep breath here. Exhale to gaze over that back shoulder. One more full breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Nice long spine. Inhale again. Exhale to slowly come back to the front. Again, the intention here is to keep those knees squared, shoulder width apart, knees over the ankles. So let's do this again. Morning, Bishop. All right, let's do this again for the left side. Palms together at the heart. Inhale, sending them up for a slight back bend. Exhale, turning the torso to the left, keeping the knees where they were when you started. Exhale to open the arms. Left arm behind you, right arm out in front on the outside of the knee. Inhale here. Exhale, gaze over the back shoulder. Nice long spine. One more deep breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale again. Exhale to slowly return to the front. We're going to move into little cat-cows. You can start with little ones. You can stay with little ones. You can do nice, big, deep cat-cows. The point of the cat-cow is really to get the entire spine engaged. So if you can, I encourage you to do so. If little cat-cows is all you have available to you today, honor where you are in the moment. Go ahead and inhale, sending the chest forward, lifting the chin, tipping the tailbone as if you're going to wag your little tail. Give your little tail a waggle. And exhale, tucking the chin, sending the spine back, and tipping the tailbone as if you're tucking your tail. Tuck your tail. Did I say tail? I'm sorry. Inhale, send the chest forward, chin up, waggle your tail. Exhale, curve the spine, tuck the tail, tuck the chin. Let's do 3 more like this. Inhale forward. Exhale back. 1. Inhale forward, get the whole spine moving. Exhale back, 2. Last one, inhale forward. Exhale back. Come back up to neutral. Now we're going to do that whole flow again, just a little bit differently. This time, I invite you to cross your right knee over your left. Walk that left foot in a little bit so that your knees are crossed directly in front of you, not over to the side, right? Cross them directly in front of you for half eagle. So this is half eagle here. We're not going to do the arms. And we're going to begin with our side stretch. So again, you can either brace on your hand or you can lean down with the arm. We're going to start with the right arm. I'm going to brace on my knees. Inhale, swinging that right arm out and overhead. And exhale into your side stretch. Right body opening. Nope, I'm going to go ahead and drop down this way because I want to get a little deeper into my stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to gaze into your armpit. Past your armpit. And exhale. Coming back up to neutral. Hi, dog. That's arms coming down to pet you. Okay. From here, bring the palms together at the heart. Send the hands up overhead for that slight back bend. Exhale as you come up to turn the torso to the right, keeping the knees crossed into our right side twist. Drop the right hand behind you, left arm outside of the knees. Inhale and exhale here. Inhale again. Exhale to gaze over the shoulder. Inhale. And exhale slowly back to center. Now from here, bring your hands out in front of, bring your arms out in front of you, bend at the elbow. We're going to go for eagle. We're going to add eagle arms. This time placing your left elbow underneath the right, and then wrapping the hands around to touch the palms as best you can. Eagle arms with eagle legs. Left leg and left arm are underneath the cross with both the arms and the legs. Go ahead and inhale up, lifting the elbows, lifting the chin, sending the chest forward, tipping my tail out. Go ahead and waggle your tail a little bit. And then exhale, curving the spine, tucking the elbows and the tailbone in. 2 more of these. Inhale up. Exhale down. Engaging the entire spine, hips to the top of the head. Inhale up. Exhale down. 1 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Come back up to neutral. Release the arms. Release the legs. And for a moment here, go ahead and kind of wiggle your shoulders around. Wiggle your knees around. And we're going to do the other side. All right. Come back to neutral. Knees and crossing your legs. This time, left leg over the right. Make sure your cross is directly in front. This time, placing the right arm down beside you or bracing on your knees. Inhaling to sweep the left arm all the way out and overhead. And exhaling to bend into that left side stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, gaze past the armpit. Exhale to slowly come back up to neutral. Kitty cat, don't do it. Bring the palms together at the heart. Inhale up into that little back bend. Exhale to turn the torso towards the left, keeping the knees stacked directly in front of you. Exhale as you release the arms. Left arm behind you, right arm on the outside of your knees. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to gaze over the back shoulder. Inhale again. Exhale, coming back to neutral. Keeping your knees crossed. This time we're going to stack the arms, eagle arms. Bringing the right arm underneath the left, bend at the elbows, cross the arms and bend at the elbows, and then wrap the arms around to touch the hands together, the palms together. Eagle arms with matching eagle legs. Go ahead and inhale, lifting the chin, lifting the elbows, curving the spine, tipping the tailbone out, waggle your tail. And exhale, curving the spine, tucking the elbows and the chin and the tailbone. 3 more. Inhale. Up. Exhale, down. 2 more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Last one. Get the whole spine moving with this. Inhale, up. And exhale, down. Release the arms, release the legs. Again, give your shoulders, give your knees a wiggle. I'm going to do this one more time. You guys ready? This time, heel toe, your legs out to goddess pose. Open the knees nice and wide to goddess pose. Kitten cat, if you could come back from behind there, I'm worried you're going to step on the computer. Here, kitten. There we go. All right, knees open into goddess pose. We're going to do the side stretch again. You can either rest your left arm on your seat or your hand on your seat, or you can use it across the body to brace. Inhale, that right arm out and over. Getting that nice deeper this time, even deeper. The right side stretch. Inhale, exhale, inhale, gaze past the arm, and exhale back up to neutral. Other side. Right hand across, grabbing the other thigh or resting on your seat. Reach that left arm out and up overhead as you inhale. And exhale into the left side stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to gaze past the armpit. And exhale to slowly come back up to neutral. Bring the hands together at the heart. Inhale, reaching them up overhead for a slight back bend. And then either keeping them out or opening for a nice swan dive all the way into a forward fold here in your goddess pose. Bring your hands down to the ground and fold as far as is available to you. Take 3 deep breaths here in your fold. Exhale that last breath. Inhale, lengthen the spine and bring the palms to touch the ground if available. If you need blocks, use those. If you need to prop with your fingers, use that. Use whatever available to you, and we're going to move into a twist. Inhale that right arm all the way up past the torso, past the shoulders, and up to the ceiling. Reach up to the ceiling, turn your spine, turn your gaze up to the ceiling, and lean back ever so slightly in this twist. Big deep breath here. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale back down into the fold. Hands back down to the floor. Going for the left side stretch now. Inhale, drag the left arm all the way up to the ceiling. Nice big full torso twist. Gaze up towards your hand. Couple of deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Leaning back a little bit into the twist. Last one. Inhale. And exhale back down into your forward fold. Inhale one more time, big deep breath. And exhale as you slowly roll back up. Bring your arms up into cactus for the official seated goddess pose. Cactus arms, palms facing forward, fingers nice, spread nice and wide. Inhale. Arch the back a little bit, lift the chin, bring the elbows back just slightly, and exhale, closing the arms, bringing the palms and the forearms together, curving the spine ever so slightly at the shoulders. Inhale to open, send the chest forward, chin up. Exhale to close, curving the shoulders and the chin down slightly. 3 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. 2 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Last one. Exhale, bring them together. Release the arms. Heel toe your legs back together. You can bring the knees all the way together if you'd like to. Kitten, cat, that is not the place for you to play right now. If anything suddenly cuts out, it's because the cat did it. I'm telling you right now. Okay, so take a moment just to rest here. I'd like you to take a moment, invite you to take a moment to pause. Notice the quality of your system, of your breath, of your mind, of your body. Notice where there might be any tension, or notice where it was tension and no longer is. We are so busy being human doings, a lot of times we forget to take these moments of rest. So please take this moment to just rest and be with your body. If you have the capacity to do so, I encourage you to close your eyes and offer a gentle smile to your system. And then we're going to go ahead and close our practice with a couple rounds of dog breath. It improves our lung capacity. It oxygenates the blood, brings oxygen to the entire body, right? And improves the muscles in the lungs and in the diaphragm. And is generally good for the voice and the throat as well. So, dog breath, panting breath is exactly what it sounds like. All we're going to do is do 3 rounds of 20. So 20 pants, like get about 20 if you can. If not, go ahead and pause when you lose the breath. And we will go ahead and begin with a big deep breath. Hold on. I got my own rhythm off. Okay, inhale. Pant for a count of 20. Rest. Inhale again for a count of 20. Rest. One more time. Inhale for a count of 20. Rest. It's okay if panting breath is a little bit difficult for you. It's good preparation for things like Kapalabhati and Bhastrika and other pranayamas. Notice the energy generated from that short practice. And now, after all of these heart-opening things, poses, pranayama, mindfulness, and whatnot, we're going to sit for 5 minutes to complete our practice with our mudra for the week. So this mudra for the week is the Shankhavarta Mudra. It is the mudra for intuition. It assists us in hearing the subtle voices, the subtle messages of our heart space. That's why this whole flow today was about heart-opening things, both front and back heart opening. A lot of pops in your back. You guys enjoying those? Okay. So the Shankhavarta, the Shankhavarta Mudra is done like so. Bring all the fingertips together, keeping the 4 fingers gathered up at the top, the thumbs, hey Zach, keeping the thumbs down here at the bottom so you create this nice little triangle looking thing. And then drop your right index finger at the first knuckle to this 90-degree angle. So go ahead and bring the index finger into the center of this mudra. And then we place this mudra at the heart here. So mudras work by redirecting the energy channels in the body. So we always sit with our mudras for a minimum of 5 minutes because it takes about 5 minutes for that to flow through the entire system. So again, our why am I trying to say Shanmukha? It's Shankhavarta Mudra. The Shankhavarta Mudra looks like so. All the fingertips together. Remember that we don't want to create tension here. We just hold our mudra with intention. I like to say with no more than the weight of a nickel. Or imagine that you're holding a delicate feather or a tiny piece of paper that you don't want to crumble. Bring intention to the connection. Then you can either rest it here on the chest or you can hold it a little bit out, resting at the heart. Go ahead and close your eyes and let's sit for 5 minutes. While in this space, I encourage you to cultivate your awareness. Cultivate the light of your attention. So whenever you notice your attention wandering to something on your to-do list, or a worry or concern about yesterday, or wondering what that noise is outside, anything that pulls you away from the mudra, from this practice, from this space, I invite you to just let it go every time you notice that something is pulling you away. Then return back to this mudra. You can rest your attention on the mudra. You can rest your attention on your breath. If your mind is very busy and you would like to use a mantra, I encourage you to use one that works for you. If you do choose a mantra, I encourage you to use one that is heart-centered. This is the mudra for intuition, and the intuition of the heart in particular helps us differentiate between the voices of ego and wiser, higher self. The heart is the source of wisdom for the body. In this moment, we honor it as such, as the wise guide that it is. Stay with the breath, finding a rhythm of slow, steady inhales and exhales. Really creating space for a lot of movement in the chest, opening of the chest, of the rib cage, lifting of the heart. Inhales and exhales. Bringing the attention back to the present moment anytime it wanders off. Riding the rhythm of the breath. Nothing more, nothing less than the breath and the rhythm of the breath. Allow everything inside and outside to fall into this same ebb and flow, rising and falling with your breath. Just one more minute. Offer a gentle smile to your heart if you haven't started smiling already. a smile of gratitude, a smile of appreciation. Appreciation, gratitude for the heart, for its wisdom, for its guidance. Feel that gratitude. Fill your heart space. Feel the way that gratitude expands beyond your heart space and drops down into your belly and lifts up into your throat. Expanding even further to reach the very top of your head and the very bottom of your seat, encompassing your entire being in this sensation of gratitude. Gratitude for the heart. I encourage you to stay here if you have the space and time to do so. When you feel complete, go ahead and bring your hands together into prayer, or simply lay one over the other over your heart in gratitude for today's practice. In gratitude for this magnificent meat bag and the heart that drives it, the heart that gives it its wisdom, its direction, its purpose. In gratitude for the prana, the life force that flows through our systems, always moving through the path of least resistance to bring us to our highest good in every single moment. Offer yourself some gratitude. You fucking made it to class. Good for you. And thank you for joining me in this silly, funky little space where we learn and grow and thrive together with shenanigans. When you feel ready to come out of meditation, please do so slowly. Offer yourself wiggles and stretches, only opening your eyes when you're certain that this is the particular brand of reality that you are wanting to come back to. Yep. That looks about right. Unable to go live. Oh, great. Hi, guys. Hello again. How long were you guys gone? Hi, Bill. It was just a minute? Okay, cool. I saw the verify to continue while I was in the middle of with my eyes closed. So I was like, oh shit. But I verified and then I closed my eyes again and then I opened it back up and there was nothing. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, shenanigans. Okay, good. All right, good. I'm glad it was short. So, again, for those of you who did not get through the whole flow, the replay is on YouTube. Hopefully it's there right now. YouTube, if you are still live, it sure looks live. I've been having some really funky tech stuff happening, so I'm sorry guys for the missing replays. I am going to get them uploaded. Have I been watching the DNC? No, I have not. No, I've been watching a similar process happen in my own mind, actually. These past several weeks have been a reordering of the internal politics in my space. And so I am spending most of my time and energy focusing on the reordering of my Congress and my Senate, and electing the proper officials within me to maintain the boundaries that I need to maintain to protect my system, to enlighten and reorder. There's a lot of reordering happening, and in a way that feels universally ushered. You know those times in your life where something just fucking ends and you're like, well, I really wanted to keep doing that, but I guess it's not working anymore, right? Or some habit that you've been doing that's been working for you just suddenly stops working for you, right? I think we've all been that point of smoking cigarettes, but then we stop, but then they stop tasting good, right? Or eating certain things, but then they stop tasting good, but we still do it anyway. Did you know that your body tells you when it is satisfied, but we ignore it? We were talking, what was it, like Monday or Wednesday maybe, about the way that our culture has taught us to ignore our systems to such a severity, right? That a lot of the process of enlightening the self, a lot of the shadow work is really just learning to listen to the system again. Learning to hear what the system says, learning to hear when the body says no. That's why this mudra, maybe that's part of it, Leb, right? Maybe it's part of it that we are using this mudra this week, and that's part of why a lot of us are having these reorderings. I mean, I know there's other things going on too. Max, am I homeless? No. Nope. I travel, and I live in many different homes, right? But I am very close to the process of finally finding myself a home base here in Oregon where I can finally build community. I mean intentional community, right? We have community, but I mean intentional community working together. The mudra for this week, for those of you wondering, is the Shankhavarta Mudra, and it is done like so. Keep your 4 fingers, or how many you have here, right, together, and bring them up to touch, and then touch the thumbs together too. So you've got this nice little diamond shape here, and then with your right index finger, tip that right index finger inside of the mudra. Hey, Cappy. And then hold it right here at your heart. This is the mudra for intuition, specifically helping us to hear the intuition in our heart, help us to differentiate between ego intuition and genuine wisdom, right? Josie, you're here in Oregon too. I keep having this vision ever since the beginning of this year. In the beginning of this year, I started to have this image every time I ran into somebody else that was in Oregon. Zach, if you're still in here, Zach was one of those people too, where I started talking to folks, and every time I talked to somebody and they'd go, well, I'm here in Oregon too, I'd have this like image of a bunch of us gathering in an outside space. And it looks totally like Oregon. I'm like, I feel like we're all going to get together at some point. Like we're all going to hang out. Leb, your left finger feels like it wants to do something too. So there are other mudras, right? That like this is actually, sir, what are you doing? Right? This is a different mudra than this one is. But I encourage you to try different things. Remember, this is like, these are tools. You are your own guru. So you need to learn how to use the tools in a way that's effective for you. An example of this, a really good example of this, is Nadi Shodhana, right? Alternate nostril breathing is traditionally done with the right hand. Now, the right hand is the solar energy, right? The upward lifting masculine yang energy in the system, which is effective for what it does. However, I really like to experiment with balance. So I started using my left hand. And I can tell you for certain that the left hand and the right hand are 2 different practices. Both are effective. Did he stop? Hold on, guys. My neighbor has been stalking me and recording me every time, or stopping at the front of my property and taking pictures of my property. So, had to check to see if it was him again. It wasn't. I've been considering a new, snake, yes. I've been considering an entirely new TikTok channel / YouTube channel where I put a trail cam out in the woods where I'm pretty sure that my neighbor is sneaking into the woods and taking photos and videos of me on my property. He does so as I walk down the road that way, walk into the wilderness area. So I'm thinking about putting a cam up in the woods and leaving it out there and leaving it live so that people can actually, you guys want to look out for me? Hey Robin, how are you? Field trip time. Heck yeah. Come to Oregon. Cappy, you wanted to ask me when we can talk. Come into the Discord. Hey Joe, just so everyone knows, right? I do offer private coaching. Private coaching is done in a couple of different ways. There's coaching by donation, which allows you to just pay whatever you want for a 15-minute session. I do have a limit on those because if you're getting multiple of those every week, then you need to just go ahead and get a membership, right? Then I do have a group coaching level. I do have a once a month coaching level. I have a weekly coaching level. And then I also have an intensive coaching level where we are on calls 3 to 4 times per week. And that goes for 40 days. So those are all the options available. If you'd like to explore those options or just talk more casually with me and other people who are doing this kind of work, then come into the Discord. The Discord is the place where we have a lot of these discussions and can have them more casually. If you want one-on-one time, I don't have the capacity to text and to have friendly phone calls with everybody who wants one. And that's also about me learning to set boundaries, right? I love having a million friends, but I don't have the capacity to have the phone calls I would like to have, right, with a million friends. So I need to be careful with my time. If you want to come into the Discord, we can totally chat in there, and the whole community can chat about these things. Leb, I would really appreciate you and someone else coming out and being here on the property with me so that I didn't have to worry about it. Cappy, get together and talk. Again, if you want to come to the Discord or message me and we can chat about an in-person session, but I can't do that stuff for free because my time is really valuable. Hey Trey, how are you? I have an 8-year-old kid and a very Velcro dog, right? And I still have to make time for myself. So I am very limited on the amount of people that I do regular coaching with so that I can give my full attention and time to those clients as well. And Cappy too. Hey, thank you. Thanks for being proud of me for boundaries. It took a long time, right? Like for a long time, boundaries is a new thing for me, and it still feels a little shaky to place them. So I especially appreciate the reflection there. Also, however, I want to say also, though, cash is not the only way, right? I do trade. I have things that I need in terms of like editing and people to help me like clip stuff or people to help me mod. I'm doing all of my work and all of my stuff by myself. If you have any skills that you could offer, I'm happy to exchange skills for coaching. Because you're offering me a service too, right? So if cash is the only thing that locks you out of coaching, then reach out to me. Josie, girl, you grab my back. Come on, y'all. It's a really uncomfortable situation. It's not just me either. It's unfortunately he's threatened the other kids in the neighborhood. But the law enforcement won't do anything about it because they said nothing has happened yet. They've got no proof that he's threatening anybody. So, yes.
All the small stuff, which I can't do. I can't do the big stuff.
There's more laundry to do, hun.
Okay. So what do I do with the stuff in the big stuff in the bucket?
Same thing you've done with it before.
Put it to the side?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
What do I put it on, though?
Thanks, Josie. The same thing you did before, son. I need you to go out there and figure this.
The rag out, the carpet out there that I put it on isn't out there.
Yes, it is, son.
Okay,
Go use your eyes. Love you. Mijo, go do your chores. Sorry, I'm a little less flexible today with him because we've had some dishonesty here. So, buy a yoga mat and get him centered. I feel bad for the neighbor because it's a simple misunderstanding, and he just digs in his heels and uses that to put himself in a place of being victimized, and then attacks everybody based on his perception of being victimized because of his misconception about legal matters. So I feel my heart goes out to him, but at the same time, it is a genuine concern. He has taken out a firearm on somebody in town before, so I know he's capable and willing. And unfortunately, I really do need people out here with me so that I'm not by myself. But people who are genuinely interested in community, people who genuinely believe that they have the skills to work within community and are willing to learn and practice those skills continually to get better at being in community. Robin, you're out in the Midwest? How far? Oh, like Ohio, and there's nothing out there. I won't go east right now. There's too much going on. Hey, thanks, Cappy. Is he a boomer or Gen X? I don't know. My guess is boomer, but he could be on the edge there, right? But that's not the point, right? The point is that he's struggling and unfortunately weaponizing his struggle at other people. But long-term goals, there is another piece of property here in town. We're selling this one right now, and we're looking at a much bigger piece of property. This is 1 acre. The one I'm looking at is 100. So someday my dreams will come true, right? When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Do you like that song? You silly dog. All right, guys. The neighbor. The neighbor is a great example of what happens when we hold tight to our ignorance, right? How we create suffering for ourselves. Sir, you are not allowed to lick my face. What kind of puppy, Cappy? What's he got going on, huh? What's he got going on? You're very distracting today with all your pushy hugs. With all your pushy. Yeah? Can you go lay down? Can you lay down? Not on me. No, can you lay down? They want to be the star. He does. He does. He's not usually a ham, but I think all the activity of people driving down the road and stuff this morning has got him a little bit, excited. But I want to link these things. Right? My neighbor is in a situation where he feels the need to use force to get his point across, to protect his space. Hey, Mullah Cookie! Trey said, painful to learn boundaries. Finally, yet it is empowering after the pains. Yeah. We have to recognize that that process is... Two thoughts collided in my head, so I'm letting them sort themselves out. In duality, the deeper, denser feelings that we are in, states of consciousness, essentially, that we experience, there's more and more push and pull that has to happen in those lower ones. There's more force that occurs with the lower density. Imagine that if you are being pressed by life or by energy, right? Pushing you in energetically, that is what these energies do. They pull in. They're dense energies. They bring everything into a denser, smaller space. Things like aggression, anger, greed, selfish choices and behaviors, right? These are all contracting energies. So you must use force to protect yourself against them, right? Or it seems so. But when we move into those higher, more expansive states of consciousness, they offer us a kind of intrinsic power that doesn't require force. Think about the person who has to hurt or manipulate or get really aggressive with people to get them to do what they want, right? The leader who's pushy and demanding and judgmental versus the leader who can quietly sit there and just go, here, this is for you, here, this is for you, right? So we look at it in parenting too. The parent who has to be authoritarian versus learning to use power in a way that doesn't require force. Bill, is he trespassing? Yes, he is trespassing. I have caught him on my property, but because I don't have video of him on my property, the court, I tried to get a, whatever it's called. But the court and the police all say that we essentially have to wait until something happens for them to do anything. That it is not illegal for him to record me everywhere I go or even on my own property. Apparently, just FYI, if you want to sit across the street from a police officer or a senator or anybody like that, and apparently just film into their windows, you're allowed to do that. Apparently, it's legal to do that. So, guys, I don't battle. People trying to go live with me. I don't battle. I don't battle. I don't battle. I don't create battles. In fact, I am in the business of making peace within myself so that I can make peace outside, right? So that same thing is echoed through my life, outside, not just within me. Kathy, how about if they show up at 2:30 a.m. and knock on your bedroom window? No, I think at that point you could catch them for trespassing, right? For peep and Tom kind of stuff. But this guy is like at midnight or 11:30, he'll roll up towards the edge of my property and sit there in his car. So, yeah. Privacy is our responsibility according to the law. Yeah. Yep. So in these situations, could I put myself in the place of a victim? Absolutely, right? We can reasonably look at that and say that there is a situation where I am in a victim role, right? But that does not give me much power. Vada, we have our own version out here in the woods. Being a victim and being in that victim role and accepting that I am simply a victim of this situation doesn't give me much power. And when I feel like a victim and when I perceive myself as a victim, I often feel like I need to use force to protect myself. Thank you, Josie. That's why I want the cam out there, so that we can see him at all hours of the night, and I want to put it where he stops so we can actually see what he's doing in his car, because I'm pretty sure he's out there filming or other things. So how do I cultivate a sense of power when I'm feeling victimized? By recognizing that I always have choices. Do I like those choices? Do I agree with those choices? Not always, right? One of those choices is that I don't walk directly in front of his house anymore. That's the area, that's the core of his misunderstanding about law, easement law, and it causes him to be much more aggravated with me. There are other ways that I can go around. There are other ways that I can get out to the river and out to the wild area that we can walk to. Of course, part of me feels justified in walking that path because I have every legal right to. I have permission from the people who own the property that he is yelling at me about walking on because he believes he owns it. No, you don't own it. Your name's not on it. There's no legal right to it. An easement means you have permission to access it, just like I have permission to access it. I could and have dug in my heels, right? And continued to fight back with this. But what has it got me? It has not brought me peace. I say I have, because last year, this whole thing started about March of last year. And for many months last year, I was forcefully fighting back. And this is the point at which he continued to ramp up and threaten. And the reality is that I have not just myself, but my son and my kid to protect. And taking that risk with somebody who's clearly disassociated from the reality of the situation is not going to do me any good, right? Yes, I feel victimized. Sure, I feel pissed off that I can't just do the thing I have permission to do. But what am I accomplishing by fighting back, weaponizing my energy back at him? It has turned into an OCD thing for him. Correct, Vada. It is essentially essential to his character. It's essential to his truth. It's essential to his reality. And when something has become essential to someone's reality, it does not really serve us to try to directly fight that, right? We see a lot of that happening with a number of people here in the U.S. being manipulated and gaslit into a belief that is dissociated from reality. It's a really scary thing, and sometimes we want to fight it head on. This is why we need all kinds of different people. Because there are some people who approach challenges like this, right? And can hold the line, so to speak. And there are other people who approach challenges like this. This is really can feel, this is power, this is force. And we live in a world where a lot of people go to force to get things done. But it is, in and of itself, a kind of ignorance to use force in every capacity. Because there are times and places where power is what's required, not force. Trays, myths, and tunes. My friend, thank you for the reminder. Remember, Christ Sophia is in your heart, is the only true authority. She will never tell you to trespass or aggress, but respect and peace. Shanti, shanti, shanti. That is exactly it, right? The higher, wiser self brings us out of the need for force and opens us to a place where we can cultivate a sense of power that doesn't require us to fight and push and pull and grab energy from people and try to manipulate whatnot. These are all dense operations. I like to think about them in relationship to the way that we develop gross motor skills and fine motor skills. When we first start to interact with the world, we need to develop gross motor skills. Cognitive skills are the same way. Throwing a tantrum is a gross cognitive skill. Right? It's a very easy, simple, I'm just going to throw my energy around to get the fuck what I want and need. But it's not always effective. And as we evolve, hopefully we're learning more fine cognitive skills, more fine motor skills, like the way we go from toddling around to learning to skip or learning to tiptoe or learning to write with a pencil rather than fist a crayon, right? We don't stop there when we're on the external. We don't stop at the gross motor skills with our bodies. But a lot of us stop at the gross motor skills with our brain. I really wish we could recognize the capacity for evolution here, for enlightenment here, for enlightening and developing not just the body, but also the mind and the spirit. Right? And this is what mindfulness is all about. Uma on fire. Somebody recently told me I looked like Uma Thurman, and I was like, I don't think I do. Trey's myths, you say it's sad that there are folks without awareness out there. You know, I think I realized something a couple years ago, and it was through a conversation with my son that was really important. There is a thing happening. There's a thing, and I don't know how to describe, hold on, let me try to describe it in this way. I'll tell you about how we talked about it, my son and I. There were some kids that we knew, siblings that we knew. And one sibling really practiced little to no empathy. When he was in trouble, he was angry and upset that he was in trouble only because he got in trouble, right? Not because he hurt some other kid, not because, and it turned out that he's on the spectrum, and there were a variety of things that caused him to be far less aware of other people, right? And other people's needs and other people's sort of energy. This presence of mind, the capacity to believe or to understand that someone else has their own thoughts and feelings, is related to our ability to perceive and to make space for those thoughts and feelings. Now, we can have presence of mind and recognize that someone has their own thoughts and feelings and give no shits about them. Some of us don't have presence of mind based on our brain structure and experience, or have little presence of mind. That makes it a little bit harder. But then there is also this piece when we have presence of mind and we care not about the other. We talked about it like the difference between shadow and shade on a heart, right? For example, actually, I'll use myself and my son's dad as a good example. We both grew up with very similar traumas, very similar environments, very similar upbringing, rules, parents, situations, whatnot. It was surprisingly similar. But we had chosen two very different ways to deal with it. For me, I chose to fawn, and I chose to also use the tactics of my aggressors to protect myself, as many kids do, right? Many of us will just model back the same behaviors that our parents do for us, whether they're nice or not, whether they're good or not. But I also knew that I wasn't these behaviors. I always knew that these were not good behaviors, that I didn't want to do these behaviors, but it was like a last ditch, like, this is all I know how to do. It was as if hiding behind the shadow of things like narcissism or selfishness or arrogance, hiding behind those shadows. How about now, Cappy? Was a protective measure. My son's dad, on the other hand, decided to become the shadow. He said the best way to protect himself was to become the aggressor. That I talk about as shading the heart. You can hide behind the shadow to protect the light, or you deny your own light to be the shadow, again, as a protective measure. I think what breaks my heart the most, or opens my heart the most, I should say, is when I see people who believe that they have to be the shadow, or they believe that they are the shadow, or they believe that the only way to get through life is to be that dense energy. There is a lesson, there is something to learn available in all of it. Whether you choose to believe you are the shadow, whether you choose to use shadow tactics to operate through life, to get through things, or whether you have the capacity to choose something different. One of the scariest things to do in life is to just choose to do something different than you've always done. Because our brains and our bodies are really good habit creators, habit makers, habit doers. The brain creates habits for us, so we don't have to think too hard about all the things we do. Can you imagine if you had to think really hard about walking and eating like you did when you were a baby or an infant or a toddler or whatever? Of course, that would be a lot of energy, a lot of effort. So the brain and the body make habits that we can just repeat over and over and over again. But these habits are not always wise. These habits are not always, they're almost all built out of when we were younger. And so they maintain that level of ignorance and that level of immaturity until we update them. But you have to be willing to update them, right? Change only comes from within. Nobody can update them for you. And in the moment, you have to be the one to choose something different, to do something different, rather than the habitual same thing over and over. Reaction versus responding, right? I can become responsible, which just means able to respond, versus reactive, which just means repeating the same action over and over. Trey, it's unbelievable at first when an empathic soul discovers someone with heavy NPD have almost no empathy, right? When I was a child being raised by people who didn't display empathy, it used to make me feel like my head was going to explode. I'll be honest. Like, there was not the capacity in my brain to perceive what the fuck that was actually, like, it didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And as a being born into Catholicism, you know, I used to pray. I used to pray hard and ask Christ, how did you do this? How did you hold space when people were seemed so dark and lost and scared? And the fact that they, like, it's as if people not make friends with, because I don't believe that anybody is completely lost. I believe that everyone has the capacity for enlightening the self. I also believe it's imperative to have compassion for those who choose not to enlighten the self, because I recognize, like you say here, realizing they went through massive trauma. The reality is that people do what they do with their systems, what their systems do, what their brains do, with their body and with their voice and with their actions. Everything that they do is rooted in an attempt to protect the system. And so when I see somebody so lost, so inside of that space, my heart opens, right, and says, I can't even imagine how horrible, how horrific, how awful, and how painful whatever it was that they went through was. My mother is actually really similar. She has a lot of wisdom. She has a lot of insight. She's a powerful intuitive. I never got away with anything when I was a teenager. She always fucking knew. Always fucking knew. Like, yeah. But in an attempt to protect her system, she has actually removed herself further and further and further away from the collective reality and deeper into a safer kicker, safer reality for her. And I cannot condemn someone. I cannot condemn someone for choosing their own safety. Think about how many times in my life I have chosen my own safety over someone else's. How many times in my life I have weaponized my energy in hopes to protect my system. Did those things work good for me, work well? They served their purpose. But I understand how we can get caught in there. It's so much safer to stay there. I encourage you to find space in your heart for the people who are choosing to remain in ignorance out of to protect themselves. Trey, I'm grateful it's connecting. Remember, guys, for those of you who are new here, my name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman. However, and in this space, we remind you it's important to remember that you are your own guru. Everything you receive outside of yourself has to fit inside for it to be integrated, for it to be understood, for it to be useful to you. So if there is something that you receive in this space, if there is something that you hear or you feel in this space, I encourage you to honor yourself for the capacity to have that experience rather than putting that on me. And I can accept being honored for the space I'm holding and what I'm offering. And I want to also make sure that that is mirrored in you. that you honor yourself just as much, if not more, than you offer to me. Okay? I am just a mirror. I am just an aspect of the fractal whole, right? I am just one little sliver of color on the rainbow. I am ultimately an echo of whatever you're experiencing. Remember, this is one has been big in our lives recently, in the lives recently. But Trey, if you and I are holding hands, the only part of holding hands of you that I experience is the way that your hand feels within mine. I can never actually feel the way your hand feels. I can only feel how it feels in mine. Anything I see outside of myself is only perceived through the process that occurs inside of my mind. Inside. Therefore, everything I experience in life ultimately is seeded from and comes from within me, is echoed and mirrored within me, is only experienced within me. Cappy, you have a good day too. Reach out to me, okay? If you want to chat, reach out to me and we can work something out, okay? We can never truly know what others experience. But to fully be responsible, able to respond, I have to take back the power that comes from knowing that I am everything that happens in my life is all in here. It's really important to recognize this because it gives us the capacity to take responsibility, and it also relieves us of the belief that we are victims in our lives or without power in our lives. A great amount of power comes from recognizing your ability to make choices in any moment. I like to call it our shared superpower. Every human has the same superpower. We have other ones too. Some of us have other ones, but we all share the capacity for choice. We all share the capacity to direct our attention, and that light of attention is going to affect our world. It's going to affect what we perceive, what we receive, and what we give out. Learning to cultivate that is one of the most powerful things that we can do. Real poison. Anyone ever hold their own hand when one fell asleep just to see how it feels as a kid? So I still do that. I have a chronic condition that ends up leaving me with numbness in my various extremities almost on a daily basis. And when it happens, I still always will do the thing, do the oh, and try to feel one hand without the other. And it's actually very confusing, right? Because it's not completely numb. Right? So I'm sort of feeling, sort of not. And I'm trying to figure out which ones are numb and which ones are not. And it's very it's a fine perception. It's a fine perception. But I get to do that on a daily basis. August, you've been told that you use one hand to trace fingers on the other. We have a breathing technique like that we really, really like in this space. This is one of my favorite breathing techniques for bringing yourself back to the present moment, right? It engages the body, it engages the mind, and it engages the breath. We start here, bring the palm up to face the chest. Bring your right index finger or your left, depending on which way you're doing it. I like to do it with my right hand in front of me. Take my left finger and bring it right here underneath the thumb. And then we begin with a small inhale and an exhale. Up the outside, down the inside of the thumb. And then a little bit longer. Inhale. Exhale down the inside of the index. A little bit longer. Inhale up the middle. Exhale down the inside of the middle. A little bit longer. Inhale up the outside of the ring. Exhale down. Last one. Inhale up the outside, the right side of the pinky. Inhale up one side of the pinky. And then exhale all the way down to the elbow. August, I like all your chatting about marbles. I like to play marbles. I tried teaching my son how to play marbles, but he doesn't want to play marbles. He wants to play Pokemon cards. So I learned how to play Pokemon cards. But if you want to come play marbles with me, I'd love to play marbles. Not a fan of jacks. Not a fan of jacks. Too messy. They go over the place. Stresses me out. But I'll play marbles. I got enough of them rolling around here, up in here in the head, right? Remember that there are simply profound tools that we can use to cultivate our ability to make these choices, to use our superpower. We like to talk in this space about quantum mindfulness. What? Quantum mindfulness? It sounds like a buzzword, right? It sounds like a got you title from a YouTube video or something. But quantum mechanics tells us that there is a single constant in the universe. Everything else bends and moves around this constant in the universe. That constant is light. Time and space are relative to light. What is your attention? Light. The light of awareness. Where you put your attention is what you experience. And also, your attention on something changes that experience by the nature of you observing it. Oh no, I'm not a co-creator of my universe, but everything I look at and pay attention to is affected by my looking and paying attention to it and interacting with it. No. I'm not a co-creator in the universe at all. No. I can't change my reality. No. I am totally a victim and completely powerless, right? The world is just happening to me. Until we learn to allow it to move through us. When we are stuck in the rigidity of ignorance, when we are stuck in the rigidity of duality, we become inflexible. When we dig in our heels and hold tightly to our perception, which in and of itself is ignorant, right? I love this thought process. Ignorance is just not knowing, right? And by the very nature of my system, the fact that my eyes can only see this much of a spectrum of color and my ears can only hear this much of a spectrum of sound, my senses can only perceive this small perception. Therefore, by my nature of being human, I am ignorant and will remain ignorant if I only rely on the limitations of my perception. And when I only rely on those things and don't recognize my ignorance, of course, then that bleeds into arrogance. I become arrogant, not acknowledging my ignorance, and therefore becoming more rigid and more dense. What happens when the tide rises, when the storm blows on something that is rigid and firm and inflexible? That shit topples over. Oak trees, no matter how deeply rooted and strong these fuckers are, they're huge. The BTUs for an oak tree is intense because it's such thick right? Dense wood. How many of those trees have we seen toppled over? I grew up in California for several years. They're all over the place. Because when a big storm blows, there's no bend in that tree. But out in hurricane season, over there in hurricane season, there's a bunch of willows. There's mangroves. There are trees that bend and sway. On the coast, there are firs that are shaped by the wind. When we allow life to shape us, we move with the flow of life and become less resistant to that flow. Expanding our wisdom reveals the expanse of our ignorance. Well said, Lib. So I like to say, right, be like the willow with the roots of an oak. Cultivate your grounding. Bend and sway. You can ground yourself in the self. You can't ground yourself anywhere, anchor yourself anywhere outside of yourself, because everything outside of yourself only exists via your perception, and therefore is also a finite thing too, because it's in the matrix. All this stuff here in our reality is finite. It all has a rise and a fall, a beginning, a middle, and an end, a day and a night, a light and a dark, a hungry and not, awake and asleep, a life, birth, life, and death, right? We all have a finite, we're all perishable. Everything in this world is perishable, except light. It is the constant. That vibration through the entire universe is the only constant. That has a movement, has a flow to it. Stuff tough. My mom is the matrix. Got me. In a way, our parents absolutely are. They are a product of the system that they were raised within, the culture that they were raised within. And they operate within the confines of the culture they were raised within. And only within the confines of how much they were able to expand outside of the limitations of the culture they were in. As we are expanding, growth does not suddenly happen overnight. We're like, boop, we're evolved. We go in generation by generation by generation, evolving a little bit more and a little bit more and expanding a little bit more and a little bit more. Yeah, sure, some of us blow the walls off of shit and some of us don't expand at all. But as a collective, there is a Fibonacci style evolution happening. Oh, thank you, August, for the reminder. Oh, and I have to verify to continue again. You guys reporting me for not drinking water? Or for talking about ignorance? I love it when I get tagged for using the word ignorance. It's tagged as hate speech. That's my favorite. Yes? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and get off so we can go to an appointment.
Okay. Is it at the system?
Not right now, son. I'm not answering questions. I'm going to finish up my live here. Just shows the ignorance of some people around the world, the word ignorance. Yeah. Ignorance itself is not an insult, right? Is there a Fibonacci burrito inside of your soul? Yes, there absolutely is. You, Stuff Tough, are a Fibonacci burrito. Expanded from that heart space. Do you remember the conch mudra that we did before? Just like that Fibonacci sequence from inside the heart, expanding from the heart and creating this system. My system operates in that same sequence. Oh, you did a dance hearing that? Good. So again, the mudra for this week is also a conch mudra. No, this one. This one's actually apparently the term Shankhavarta in Sanskrit translates to conch livelihood, the life of the conch. So, it is done like so. Bring all your fingers to touch, making this nice little diamond here, and then take your right index finger and bend at that first knuckle. Then you hold it here at the heart. This mudra particularly works to help us differentiate between ego and higher self. It helps us perceive the wisdom of the heart. Remember that the wisest parts of yourself do not need to fight and clamor for your attention. The wisest parts of yourself, the most powerful parts of yourself, do not use force. So if you are using force to try to get to them, you're probably not going to get to them. And if you're feeling forced or you're hearing force happening in your inner world or in your energy, then it's not the wiser self. Now, not always, because there is a time and a place for force, right? Like if I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to build muscle, obviously I need to use force and rest to build muscle. Just like if I'm doing yoga, right? There are certain practices where we certainly use force and we use it intentionally. But if I feel justified in weaponizing my emotions to force somebody to do or to say or something, that's obviously not from my higher self, right? That's obviously not the wiser self within me doing that. That's usually the belief in duality, the ignorant self doing that. And our job, our responsibility, is to enlighten the ignorance within ourselves. To bring light to bring awareness to the ignorance within us. But only if you want to. You don't have to do anything. Hey, Liz, I'm just about to get off, babe. Oh, man. Remember that you don't have to. You don't have to do anything I talk about in here. You don't have to practice mindfulness at all. You don't have to believe a word that I'm saying. That's okay, right? We are each a unique vessel and therefore have a unique story and have a unique process and have unique tools that work for us. For some of us, mudras are like fucking effective. It's really effective and we use them all the time because they're awesome. And for some of us, we're like, that's not my jam. But more than encourage, I implore you that if you have the curiosity to explore, that you cultivate the willingness to do so, that you allow yourself the time and the space. One of the most important things to our ability to thrive in life is the degree to which we trust ourselves. And for most of us, that's an iffy, right? That's a gray area. Yeah, maybe I trust myself in these ways, but there are these other ways that I don't trust myself. If you're like me and still learning boundaries, boundaries is a place where I don't trust myself a whole lot yet. But I would like to. And so every day, every time I have the opportunity to work on boundaries, I do my best to show up for that trust. Like we were talking about at the very beginning of this live, right? I was talking about setting boundaries and having boundaries and learning to hold them. It's not easy. It makes my heart race a little bit, right? It makes the old stories come up that say, oh, they're gonna whatever, no, somebody's not gonna like you, or you shouldn't have boundaries, or oh, you're doing something wrong, or whatnot. I can hear those voices, the old, outdated stories, and hold space for them with compassion and say, I know. For a long time, you're right. I haven't been very good at boundaries, and I have let people just tear tear through me, take resources and whatnot. I have let people take advantage. But look, my intention is to bring balance to my system. And so when I recognize imbalance, I have compassion for the imbalance, because I will not bring balance by fighting myself. Fighting fire with fire just creates a wildfire. Love you too, Liz. Thank you, Rico Poison. And I want you guys to know that that capacity, right, for me to be able to do it is what makes me able to be in awe of you when you do it, right? It deepens my understanding and my ability to be compassionate for other people as they move through their process. Before I learned to set boundaries, when I was still weaponizing my energy, I judged other people's boundaries. It really is a simple mirroring, echoing sort of thing. And when we start to see the way that everything within is echoed outside and vice versa, then we stop feeling so confused by life, and we stop feeling so lost in life, because we're like, oh, it's all just obvious right the fuck here. Like, it's all literally right in front of me. How could I have missed that for so many years? Have compassion again for missing it for so long in my ignorance. That's okay, because we all come from ignorance. I cannot discover things unless I did not know about them before. I cannot learn to love myself. I cannot fall in love with myself if I have always loved myself. I cannot find myself unless I've been lost first. So instead of lamenting over feeling lost and small and broken and stupid and ignorant and mean and whatever and out of balance and unhealthy and whatever the things, instead of lamenting about those things, about where I was, the practice is to have compassion, so I can love those things for what they did for me. Remember, everything inside of your system, the intention of everything in your system is to keep you safe. Leb, you find frustration when you identify how you create a pattern, yet still don't manage to change it. Absolutely. Of course it's frustrating. You know what I found? Is that frustration is the key to changing it. Instead of changing the pattern, try changing the frustration that comes up with the pattern. When we look at things from a variety of angles, when we're willing to do radical, odd, sometimes totally crazy looking and feeling things, that is when we find the flexibility and the freedom to make the changes that we're seeking. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's confusing. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's heavy work. No, honestly, it's not work for everyone to do, and that's not a judgment. That's just you have to want to do it. Not everybody wants to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's not going to work for you. It's going to be fucking painful. Change comes from the desire to change. The desire to change has to be honest and authentic for it to work. So if you're trying to change something that you don't really want to change, you're going to have to shift it. Going to have to shift it, re-examine it, turn it around in your hands 1,000,000 times, taste it a few times, sniff it until you can figure out another way to come at it. I spent many years using force and ended up with chronic physical conditions because of the amount of force that I used in my life. Until literally my body said, we can't force shit anymore. You're going to have to learn to use your power. Damn it. That force thing was really effective, sort of. Not really. But I thought it was. It felt effective. But when we begin to cultivate power, we realize how ineffective force can be. And that, my friends, is how you get stuck on the rabbit hole going, shoop, oh, well, it wasn't effective. Force. There is a time and a place for it, but we are overusing it in our culture. So for any change at all, or for not any change at all, start with spending 5 minutes every day with yourself. Start with 5 minutes, just 5 minutes every day. Maybe holding a mudra, maybe just listening to your breath. Maybe asking yourself, what do you need today? What do I need today? 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a fantastic place to start. And if you do 5 minutes every day, I guarantee you that you're going to be laying the foundation for trust, for a trusting relationship with yourself. And if you continue to do that practice, I guarantee that there will be a point at which your body, your mind, yourself will begin to respond. If you start with this practice and spend 5 minutes just quiet, listening to your inner space, and you don't hear shit, and that voice inside your head says, see, this is bullshit, I invite you to meet that voice and say, well, let's just keep trying. Let's see, right? Some things take time. And if we have been forceful and judgmental and mean and aggressive with ourselves, the self has protective measures. And if you continue to be aggressive and mean and whatnot to the self and forceful with the self, those protective measures will remain in place. Your defenses will stay up as long as there is something to defend against. And if you are your own aggressor, which many of us are, our bodies and our minds will keep defending against it. It is only when we learn power, the power that comes with presence, the power that comes with patience, the power that comes with practice. It's not something innate, but it is far more powerful than force. And that, again, is the key to unraveling all the defenses, to unraveling all the ego things that are there to defend and to protect us. You can create profound change with just 5 minutes every day. So, remember that we have a free community space. If you want to come join us, we have a Discord space. The link is in my bio on my link tree. I am Move with Change on all the platforms. Everywhere you hang out, I am Move with Change. So go find me wherever you hang out. I go live on TikTok and YouTube and sometimes somewhere else. Lately it's been Instagram. I do have a variety of membership levels. If you want to work directly with me, if you want to get into any kind of coaching level, I have a variety of membership levels for that. I do also have donation support levels if you want to just offer one-time or monthly donations to continue to help me, support me in continuing to teach, continuing to offer free classes, continuing to do these things. If nothing else, ask your questions on my content. I do my best to respond and to make response videos to the questions that are in my content. If I ever miss your question and it's super important, comment again and be like, hey, over here, because sometimes I miss them. We're over 10,000 followers, which is really fucking cool here on TikTok, which means that the content can pay for itself. I encourage you to share, interact as much as you can, as much as you want to, as much as you enjoy the content. It is... In this space, we understand that knowledge is power. So information is free. You have a right to the information that leads you towards your self-actualization in whatever capacity that looks like for you. Gatekeeping information is not what we do in here, right? We cultivate the guru within. We share information and we value each other's perspectives and experience so that we can enlighten ourselves and thusly the collective. We thrive together. I love you guys. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any comments, if you have any complaints, that was the word I was looking for, send me a message. Otherwise, I'll see you in the Discord. Today is Friday, which means we are doing a live streaming session in the Discord tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific time, and we've been watching some cool stuff from CAYA. However, I just recently posted something about a movie, Mirror Mask. If you guys want to come in and watch Mirror Mask in the Discord, I'm going to put it on at 4 o'clock, and then we're going to run it a couple of times so we can watch it, because it's a really fantastic movie. It is totally not related to any sort of mindfulness, anything. It's just super fun. And it's a cult classic. It's a Jem Henson film, and it's one of those that, like, I feel like nobody has fucking seen. It's rare that I find somebody who's seen it. So if you haven't seen it, or if you have and you know how amazing it is, come join us in the Discord before 4 o'clock Pacific time so that you guys can come join and watch it with us. Becca, not finding my link tree. Oh, no. Well, I'm Linktree at Move with Change. You can also go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/movewithchange. I'll check my bio and find out why that's not the case. If you just want the link, please just send me a message and I'll give you the link. The title, it's called Mirror Mask, Vada. Come into the Discord and we'll watch it tonight, okay? All right, my friends, I love you so much. Message me if you want links. I'm going to go figure out what's wrong with the link tree here, and I will see you tonight in the Discord to watch a movie. If not, I will see you tomorrow morning for Bhakti Bites. All right, my friends, I love you so much. Have a good night. Instagram.